Hello, hello, hello. Hope you all can hear me. Is this working? Because if it is, then we should switch and everything should work as intended, and it is. Brilliant. Hello, everyone. I am sick currently, so if I sound a bit weird or I mute because, A, my nasal cavity is literally dying on me, and B, yeah, head cold. Not great. A little bit of a headache occasionally. So, um, yeah, no, I am very tired. I said I'd do it, so I'll do the stream. But yeah, no, just heads up. If I seem a bit more quiet or dull, or like less interesting. Yeah, no, I'm just. So, let's address the elephant in the room. There was a big paper published recently that we have to talk about. That's right. I'm of course referring to the fact that there was a Dinocephalian paper that reviewed all the material from South America. However, it's in Portuguese, and I can't read Portuguese. And if it wasn't in Portuguese, I am so sorry. I think it was in Portuguese. I my brain's a bit tired. But yeah, very interesting paper. From what I could understand, it's a review of the taxa from there. I believe we got one of the better references for Pamphonius we've ever had, which is really cool for that taxa. For those who do not know, Pamphonius is basically I would say, small-ish antiosaurid from South America, falling into that like Cyodont group of antisaurs. Format is changing between this and last stream. I was informed that I am not allowed to stream papers that are not open access, and that is entirely fair. So we're not doing that. Unless it's like a note that I think is important or a paper that is open access, I will not be streaming it from this point forward. My apologies. I made a mistake. It happens. I sound so nasally. I am my nose is actually killing me. This is great. But yeah, no. Uh, so yesterday, last time we got done with this section, which is like the sundry fauna of Russia, which is just before the Capetanian extinction. The next section was Coltonic, and Coltonic's quite cool. What's open access? When you are publishing in a journal, open access means it's available for the layperson to read. If it is not open access, you normally have to pay a fee or get it for your institution to access it. Uh, it's how publishing companies make money. Yeah, no. There is a reason you do not read those papers out loud. I'm kind of dumb for doing that, and I should have checked. My apologies. It happens. God, there's some good water next to me. But yeah, no. My mistake. I'm genuinely sorry about that. Um, yeah, no. Like no other big paper came out this week, so like I think entirely that Dice Phalian paper was very interesting. They do reference male female morph Ankylosaurus, which is very interesting. Um, and I do need to look into that. The other thing that I spent way too long looking into is on our second sheet, introducing Pseudohipposaurus, which, if you do not know, is spelled incorrectly on the Wikipedia page. Oh, my throat. Um, yeah, no, it's spelled like without the O, which is a weird misspelling. Yeah, no, like if you go to Wikipedia, like the spelling is very funny. Um, so I spent like a few days trying to figure out what happened to this because this is referenced by Boonstra, which is referenced in this paper that I have a copy of. It's in Afrikaans, which means I can't read it properly because I do not understand Afrikaans entirely perfectly. Happens. Uh, I was talking to a friend about them and asked them, "Hey, can you find me any references to this fabled pseudo hipposaurus?" So the thing is, you may see the status here says missing. That's true. Apparently, according to the review of Gorgonopsia, they just couldn't find it. It's gone. It's been gone since the 70s at least. Like before then, it's just been lost. It's kind of sad. Um, I have a weird take about this, and my take is based on the very loose sketch that is given to us. I do not believe it is a Byramasukian at all. Which, yeah, I have my take. That is pure conjecture based on a sketch, which I'm gonna be honest with you is not that good. Um, yeah, no. Once you get to like this period in sketches, it's like some of them are good. Like you get your Owen did some really good sketching for the original paper describing a lot of taxa that are kind of famous nowadays. Let me just pull you into what I mean by that. What paper I mean by that. Okay, okay, there we go. Brilliant. References here. All of these were described in one paper by Richard Owen, the guy who came up with the term dinosaur. And all of these are brilliantly described and shown off. Amphiodon, like Diictodon, Paraeosaurus, Tapinocephalus, Endothiodon, Gorgonops, and Lystrosaurus, and I believe Titana's later. But like all of those are in one paper. Granted, he does in fact refer to Tapinocephalus as a weird dinosaur, which is very funny. But we didn't know better, so like, who knew that a giant headbutting animal would be not a dinosaur? Yeah, no, this is my list of valid attacks in the Kuru Basin. My throat is dying. I still got a couple to get through, but like as you can see here, this is like the modern taxa. These are all more recent. This is everything post 2000, which comes around to like 50 taxa at least. Like there's probably more. Which is fun. But yeah, no, I am very, 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 very tired. My apologies. My throat, I feel like I sound terrible. I probably don't, but like I'm not normally this bad. My nose doesn't normally break this badly. It's yeah. Give me a second. So does anyone have any questions? About like any questions in general? Cause yeah, no, I am free to answer questions. I am. I'm hoping the string quality is okay for people. I hope it works. Should be. Okay. Yeah, no, just kind of nice to look at these animals. Then we get Coltonic. So next up is Coltonic, which, for those who do not know, is basically post-Capitanian fauna, which is basically your large parasaurs, your starter, your bigger Dicynodonts, your small Ferrocephalians, if I remember correctly, which I was reading into, and according to Day 2016, there is some very cool stuff which I didn't quite understand originally. Also, hello, Wild Lucas. Hey, how's it going? It's going good. I'm sick currently. My apologies. That's not a dino. You mentioned what exactly is it? Why is it not a dino? You see, Tapinocephalus is not a dinosaur, it's a tapinocephalian, which is a group of stem synapsids. They're closer to more like bird, like not birds. They're closer to birds than dinosaurs. But no, they're closer to mammals than dinosaurs. They are large proto. Like the way to describe tapinocephalians is kind of weird. They look kind of mammalian, but they aren't quite there yet. They don't have hair yet. They are starting to show sociability or like potential signs of grouping together interspecific. We call them I. That's kind of weird because I don't call tapinocephalians that. Like Biarmos, tapinocephalians, gorgonopsians, I don't really consider. Anomodonts also fall into this category. I don't consider it proto-mammal. I only consider it proto-mammal if it's a cynodont, which is a much later clade. They come into play like just before the. I think roundabout actually in the Coltinic, which I think we had them. We don't have any before. If it's Capitanian, we don't really have like any of them. I have not seen the new video by Nick Longridge. Fortunately, I'm sorry. Not the biggest fan of Longridge. Yeah, to be direct about that. Yeah, no, I've not seen it personally. I hope it was interesting though. I'm more a fan of Permian diversity and that kind of stuff, and how that ties into things. Can you explain why I'm not a big fan of Longridge? A lot of Longridge's work is Nick Longridge. It is him. Didn't he get kicked out of academia for like not kicked out of academia per se, but like kicked out because of he definitely did something. Like I remember the whole watermelon situation where he basically most of the work in North Africa is not the best in my opinion. With a lot of his taxes already out to be, you know, from my understanding at least, there are three North African. This is not the worst bit. I'm just going into the Hadrosaur thing because I understand what happened. At least it's not right. Yeah, but he's not great either. But yeah, there's three hadrosaurs from North Africa, Lambeosauridae. They're probably all the same thing. And in the most recent paper, his work basically when he did the matrix for that, he made it in a way that if you, due to the material, if you code it in as being from Africa, they clade together. Which means if you put a watermelon in the same taxonomic tree, it comes out as a hadrosaur, more specifically an African lambeosaur, which is just deeply funny. There's like worse things. I just am not gonna get into them on stream. Longreach isn't great. Right is also not great, but we'll ignore that for now. That's like technical stuff, isn't it? Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the other thing is, because I might. I see you probably remember better than me what Longreach did because I'm genuinely blanking and being like having a head cold doesn't help that. Yeah, no. Again, my takeaway on the new nano stuff is I think Hell Creek is probably a lot more diverse place than, again, we don't get the full fossil record, stuff doesn't preserve. I believe most ecosystems were a lot more diverse than previously stated. Again, looking at it from a sense of Permian, and this is entirely me being correlatory, is in Permian, we have Ankylosaurus, and like this many carnivores in one biota. Actually, no, there's also the Biomasuchians, which fall into like that. That's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That is 15 carnivores in one area. That's what was for bullying complaints. Yeah, no. Again, that is 15 carnivores one area that just implies, again, this is not one ecosystem, this is an area over time. It's not like it's not the whole picture. But it is very interesting that that we get ecosystems like that basically um basically we get ecosystems like that, which just, yeah. Again, Erythrostoma is a tiny Gorgonopsian. More specifically, it's the small of the small ones. It's one of the smallest ones that I know of. And then you get stuff like Cimmerelia, which is quite large for literally a Ferrocivalian. It's one of the larger ones. Antiosaurus, everyone knows Antio is one of the largest animals. There's that kind of stuff. Oops, all carnivores. I mean, no, that's the thing. We are also the balancing act of, like, there's a lot of Anomodons there, and a lot of Dinocephalians, which are all herbivores. At least we have a lot of these, which are like your Strepiocephalus, your Agnosaurus, your Cryocephalosaurus, which is Cryo is weird because Cryo is closer to the end point, but there is some earlier material of Cryo. Rabeek, which is fun. Mormosaurus, Tapinocephalus, Yonkeri, and Titanosuchus are in the same locality. For those who are actually interested, those are probably omnivorous. I'm not sure. How many vertebrates are there in total? Okay, so, like, not counting fish. So that's like Rhinosuchoides. That's so Rhinosuchus, which, for those who do not know, Rhinosuchus is your giant amphibian. It's Morgiv monsters, kind of. They not great interpretation, but it's based on Rhinosuchus accordingly, which means like Rhinosuchoid, which basically large predatory amphibian, kind of your early crocodile morph kind of animal, which is like more flat skull. But yeah, very kind of Temnospondyl thing. Rhinosuchoides is that, but with a longer snout. I'm not joking. That's like literally just how big it is. How big is it? God, I would have to scale that. I genuinely don't know off the top of my head. The skulls are weird. Again, these skulls are very flat. These skulls are very flat and big. I've seen around a Centrodon in person. Which, if you've seen that specimen in person, you kind of understand the basic idea. Which I can grab the image and pull it up on stream quickly. Give me a second. Also, if anyone does know, my profile on Google is quite literally the Shinjausaurus, which, yeah, I very much do like that scene in Prehistoric Planet. It's one of my favorites. I just need to check that that's not showing up. Lovely, my emails are not showing up. That's great. Sorry, the reasoning being for that is quite literally, like, I do not want to show what my emails are. I have vague memories of me talking about this. There she is. Okay. I can kind of explain Rhinosuchid body plan of this. Give me a minute, give me a minute. Oh, that's me of Kirk. Lovely. That's like the flattened one. That's okay. There's a Rhinosuchid. Lovely. Okay. Pull that up there and then close this. Does that work? Okay, there it is. That's a Rhinosuchid. You can see the kind of like flattened skull shape. Again, this is crushed, but like, yeah. Now that I'm looking at this in more depth, it does just look like a capitalosaur, which is like the Triassic group, which contains Mastodontosaurus. Which reminds me, for those who do not know, the term Mastodontosaurus was entirely coined out of spite, which is so funny to me. Richard Owen is a deeply amusing man when you look at his work. He didn't like the term like a Mastodontosaurus, so he came up with the term he wasn't a fan of like Mastodontosaurus, so he came up with the term what was it? My brain. I literally said the word. Tennis Londo. Yeah, I literally said it. I I'm so sorry that I'm this bad today. Labyrinthodont. Yeah, quite literally, Owen came up with the term labyrinthodont because he did not like the way the Mastodontosaurus sounds, which is like fair, but like yeah. Yeah, no. So that's like one of the taxa from there. Then we get Australopithecus, which is I genuinely don't remember what this is. I have I've not looked into this for a while. Yeah, no. Give me a second. What are you? What are you? What are you, little guy? I should really keep a tab open, but I don't have like two monitors to do that. Oh, oh, I see. Oh, I see. I see. I see. That just looks like the Bolasaur ever. Which it's not. It's clearly like a basal member of the. It's clearly weird. Um. Yeah, that is just small pseudo reptile, and I can't interpret it further than small pseudo reptile, which is fun. Yeah, yeah. If it's small, it's normally named by Reich, unfortunately. Then we get Bradysaurus, Imbrilosaurus, and Notochelosaurus, which I'm not pronouncing this one correctly. Which are all your medium-sized parasaurs. Again, these are like the I've seen like Brady in person twice. There's a Brady skeleton at the London Natural History Museum, and there's also one at the South African Natural History Museum. One of them is a bit better. Uh, one of them is a bit more crushed. But yeah, no. Brady is very unique for being one of the best understood parasaurs, for my understanding, which is very. It looks like the Bulbasaur ever. It always does. I'm sorry, it's like small lizard thing. I can tell it's different, but yeah, I'd have to look into it. And Brumia, which, yeah, this is just, if I remember correctly, it is just an animal that, like, I believe needs some looking at some point, but yeah. Then we get Eunotosaurus, which is pseudo turtle. It's not quite a turtle. The consensus like debates on that. For those who do not know, I have a model of one of these that is one-to-one scale in my house right now. I'm currently working on it still. Because I have no free time and I cannot work on my Permian stuff. My goal is like, okay, imagine like walking into my house and just seeing like a giant ankylosaur head hanging from the wall like a trophy. It's just such an appealing image of like perfectly sculpted, no issues. It's not going to be like that probably, but like having an ankylosaur head in my house would be cool. It's a bit big, but like I can't fit the body anyway. Heliosaurus is quite fun, and Microvaranops is the material that used to be Heliosaurus and is currently assigned to, oh, these are Varanopids, which are basically lizard-like things that are closely related to, mammals rather than, like reptiles, which is fun. So these are quite fun. Then we get Hipposaurus and Hipposaurus brinky. I am actually going to add a note here, which is question mark. Because according to everything I've learned, this just might not be Hipposaurus. It was assigned by yeah, Sigornu in 1917 in a French paper. But like the material was apparently not that referable, which is fun. So that needs work in future. And then we get Hipposaurus boonstra, which is named by Houting. Hipposaurus is a very famous taxa for being one of the most complete biomarsupials outside of Russia. Uh, Not including Biomarsuchus itself, which is like very complete, but we love Biomarsuchus. Then we've got Neocopia. Neocopia is the best Biomarsuchian that I've ever discovered. It's kind of weird for having the giant crest along the head. Impelopsina was described. These two were described like last year, like 2023 and 2024. But this one's important mainly because of the nasal crest on the top of the skull. It has a very small one, and it probably basically would be the most basal member of Burnettids that we have currently. Ankylosaurus is pretty much famous. You probably know what Ankylosaurus is. There's a high degree of cranial, like, my brain is not working tonight. It's lovely. Ankylosaurus is basically the largest predator, growing to around about 4 to 5 meters. I've seen people put it 6 meters. I'm not the My take is it's not likely. I've seen some research that says it's likely. Not research. I have seen an estimate in a paper, say 5 to 6. And I think that depends how long you make the tail. Because, like, the tail, again, Ankylosaurus is only mostly known from skull material. I know there is some postcrania, but we do not have a complete specimen, which, unfortunately, means that most recons are based on Titanophonius, which is its closest relative. Size ranges can be big. I don't disagree. But looking at every other Dinocephalian, they don't get above, like, 3 to 4. Yonkaria Special, it gets around 4. But, like, again, average Yonkaria is about 3, which is, like, eh. I'd say 4 for Antio because tail, but, like, yeah. Again, it's not impossible. I could see an old member of the group getting that big. Size ranges, yeah. Styracocephalus is fun. I love Styracocephalus. It's very cool for being basically it's one of the weird ones. We kind of don't know where it's placed, like Estomanosuchus and like there's a third member of that group, which is like the Estomanosuchus, Styracocephalus, technically Titanosuchids, but like not really because we know those are grouped together. Yeah. Styracocephalus is so weird. So Styracocephalus actually is fun because some of the material got reassigned to Neocopia, which is interesting. But this guy's really weird because if I pull up the Wikipedia art, it's kind of aberrant for a Tapnocephalian. Not Tapnocephalian, a Dinocephalian. Let me get the artwork that person made. Here. This is kind of what it would have looked like in life. Isn't he weird? I love him, but like this is a creature. Again, I'm not gonna lie. To me, this just looks like a Burnettid. This, I, I can't unsee the Burnettid. I would like to mention little for regular Tapnocephalians. This thing's still big. This is still larger than like a lot of things. Then we get into Titanosuchus, which is distinct from Yonkaria. A lot of so I used to think they were the same. And that is very kind of obvious when you look at the material. If you look at them, they're very similar animals, very similar proportions. But according to some work being done currently, they are distinct. They are definitely distinct animals, which is quite fun. Yeah, no. I need to look into them more because they're one of the more weirder members of the group. They definitely are potentially omnivorous to herbivorous, carnivorous, which I still more on the side of omnivory, but yeah. They also have the big fangs, which seems to be very much. I should talk about this. Basically, you can kind of potentially tell how social a member of Dinocephalians are based on their tooth, on like what they're using for display. We have cranial facial biting evidence in these great guys, at least in, I believe, Ankylosaurus, and I think that could potentially apply into Yonkaria and Titanosuchus because they have the same large teeth at the front of the jaw and at the bottom jaw. Basically, that could apply there. I think that these things probably were more solitary, at least, or to a degree more solitary than stuff like Moschops and like Chrysophilosaurus, which seem to be built more for staying together. Do I know if Ivantosaurus is valid currently? So, you are asking the one person. I emailed people. I emailed so many people. Ivanto is just Biomarsuchus. It's just an adult Bioramo. It's a really weird one, but like adult Bioramo. I checked. I quite literally emailed like an author on this and was like, "Hey, do you know if this is valid?" And they got back to me and said, like, "Yeah, no. Current consensus is Is the size the same? Uh, is the size the same? Ivanto is big. Uh, it doesn't surprise me. Again, Ivanto being big doesn't necessarily surprise me. It's big for the group, but like, again, it's not out of the range of possibility that Biarmos got really big before getting Ankylosaurs taking up the niche. Like, you see that here in Africa as well, where we see it in this area, which Pachydetes exists. Pachydetes is roughly similar sizes in thingy. Oh, it's the size. Yeah, no, it could have been a bigger specimen. However, it is quite literally, we believe, double the size of the skull of Eotano, which is skull of Eotano quotation marks, which is also Biomasukas. Again, I have lost about this. It is so annoying to look into Russian taxa. It is so annoying to look into Russian taxa because it's like I look into them for like 5 minutes and then it's like, oh yeah, no, this is just invalid. It's so funny. Um, maybe a subspecies. There's like two species of Biarmo. They're definitely just they're just different. I think potentially just it's another specimen, just old one. It can happen. Like again, their size, as you say, size range. Yeah, my throat is dying. But yeah, Pachydetes is quite fun. I love Pachydetes. Which is also one of the larger ones before we get which clades with Bulata, which is fun. But yeah, as we were going down here, there's Tapinocephalus, which is our second largest Tapinocephalian at around 3 meters. I believe it is up there with Moschops as being quite one of the large ones. The largest one, from what I remember, is either that or Tapinocaninus, which is the most basal member of the group, which is quite funny. Yeah, no, Tapinocaninus is massive. It is also built different. Mormosaurus is valid. It's Mormo is weird if I remember correctly, because if I remember correctly, Mormo is part of the Mormo is weird. I don't remember exactly why Mormo is weird, but yeah, it was. Moschops suffers from the issue of most online reconstructions use the wrong head. I've gone on multiple rants about this. Moschops runs with the most referencing the M&H specimen, which was done by Gregory in 1926. It's been 100 years since that paper. That is still the best reference for Moshop stuff, and is one of the references that people use a lot. The thing is we have adult heads. We have Moshop's growth series, and the adults have a lot more pachytosis, so that the skull looks different as it matures. And most people tend to use the more juvenile skull estimates. Again, the skull will be a lot bigger. It's a lot more weird. Rabik is very fun because it's one of the more basal members of the group. The long nose theory is kind of invalid due to basically people misinterpreting the jaw and people just copying other people's homework. It's always fun when that happens. Cryocephalosaurus is fun because it's tiny. It's an example of the Lilliput effect, which is post-extinction taxa get smaller. Where these guys are very small post-extinction, but also are, in general, one of the smaller members of the group alongside Estomatosuchus. I have no idea about that, I'm gonna be real. I have no idea about that. Agno's weird too. Strufiocephalus is kind of Strufiocephalid. Strufiocefalids are your long rostrum. That is what they're referred to in at least some of the literature. Where basically they have longer snouts designed. We don't really know what they're designed for. I've not seen ecology for that yet, which is fun. Yeah, no. Again, ecology in Permian's fun, because it's like, there was such an annoying thing that I read this week. Not annoying. Was a Russian paper stating that Inostransevia was in fact aquatic, based on the fact that the eyes were at the top of the head. I present to you my aquatic dog. It keeps happen again. It keeps happening where they're like, it couldn't live on land. Put it in the water. It's too big. It's too big. Um, this also would have applied to like I believe ankylosaurs. I think if I remember correctly. Yeah, no, it was ankylosaurs as well. Where they were like, yeah, otter. It's just a big otter. And it's just like no, no, no. This guy got a really cool paper recently. If you haven't checked out the paper on Moschaganathus, very cool paper. It is not a mature individual, however, it is distinct, which is fun. Yeah, no. Um, yeah. Gale trio, which are basically Suminia in Africa, in quotation marks. They also potentially just don't exist anymore. I know we have Gale Chirus still, I think. One of them we have still. I don't know which one we have. I think it's Galeop still exists in like MNH, which is fun. Forces is one of the larger Gorgonopsians, larger being middle-sized, and Arethrostoma is tiny in comparison because it's like small. These are your Ferrocephalians, which I'm gonna be real. I'm not gonna go into detail with because they all look practically the same besides Cimmerelia and Lyco, which is Lyco has two saber teeth instead of one, which is very fun. And Cimmerelia has big. It's just a large member of the group. Wait, how? What do you mean? Wait, how? Okay, give me a second. Where is she? Oh, the Gale trio. Galeops, basically from my understanding of the material, it went missing at some point and all we got is the countercast. Either, from my understanding, was originally that it got left in a debt. Let me actually check quickly, because I do have the paper. It's 1970 paper that I have. Give me a second. Who was it written by? Brinkman, 1970, 1981. Let us see what happened to each of the specimens. I know you cannot see this. You'll hear me like say what happened. Single species, two specimens. Yeah, Gale Chira still exists. Front of the skull and lower jaw and lateral view. It's much more skeleton. And okay, two specimens. Damn, that is all. The paper is not great for dating. Uh, so yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. Galeopus is represented. Galeopus is the one that does not preserve, if I remember correctly, the material. It is a cast of the animal, which is fun. Yeah. Basically, from my understanding, they left the material in the Karoo Desert to basically not rot, but like no, the correct. It's not rotting. It's yeah, it happens with old Karoo paleontology. A lot of people basically just took the head and left it because you got more money for describing the head, and that's why most of issues with Karoo come from. Which is basically an equivalent of like I'm gonna name more taxa than you, and that happening too often. But yeah. And what happened to our third member? What happened to the actual interesting member, Clade? And Galeops. Okay. If like two of them exist, that's nice. Material. Might exist, it's weird. Okay, that's fun. But yeah, no. These groups are weird. I, again, like looking at how stuff goes through time here, especially the diversity in clades, which is fun. My favorite thing is just looking at actually, where is it? Cystocephalus, which is look how many dice hynodons we can fit into one point in time, which these are all pretty cool in my opinion. Which, yeah, no, we have like Diglodon, which no one talks about, Dicynodon, which, yeah, and Dithyden, which stores teeth, and basically a giant pineal thing, which pineal boss. Pineal boss is the correct term. Yeah, which is fun. But you know, I was gonna go back into Russia and go into that quickly. Give me a second. Actually, you asked about Ivanto earlier, didn't you? Give me a second. Let me pull up Ivanto. You're not gonna see like thing for a second. It'll be fine. It's gonna be okay. Don't worry. My voice is starting to go though, so like I wasn't expecting to go this long, which is fun. Should work. Should. Come on. There we go. There we go. There it is. Now we need to check if it will run. Okay. Does it work? Yes, it does. Lovely. This is at least every single described Biomasukian. Yeah, this is what I mean by Ivantosaurus is kind of stupid. Like, yeah, okay, it's possible. Again, these are, according to researchers, are all the same thing, which is valid. I agree with that. We have two species. This is from slightly earlier or the same time period. I'm not sure. Again, I don't read Russian that good, which is hard to read these papers. But yeah, this is kind of how it is. Again, one of the better Biomasukians because we have post-Cranian, like actual images of this bit, which, God, if any of the others had, it would be nice. But yeah, you can see Iatotanosuchus kind of is the size of Pachydectes, which there are larger members of the group. There's also this one, which is also big if you interpret that, which is fun. But yeah, no. Oh yeah, for those who have not seen, I actually scaled this specimen, which is indeterminate. It is specifically a Bernetomorph bow. I believe it has a nasal boss here. Yeah, over here, nasal boss, which... Oh, okay, I can interpret you now. Give me a second. Do I have red pen? Okay, so that's the eye, that's your crest, that's the nasal boss, which is like that, which fairly large one. Then we have a crest over here. Again, this basically seems like a very much, from my understanding at least, I don't remember what it says, very Isnogops-esque animal, which is fun. Does actually look like Isnogops. Palette. Oh, that's a big nasal boss, damn. Look at that, that's massive. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I see. So that's also... So that is different. Oh, okay. So this over here is basically a boss over here, which is fun. But yeah, these little guys are weird. Love these little guys. God, I love old Squish Face. Again, the best one is Neocopia because this is just the best Biomasukian because of the size of the crest. Truly, the Hadrosaur of the period. But yeah, no. I've started to go through specimens to try and locate every, like, described but indeterminate, which is harder than you'd expect because there is one that's actually tripping me up significantly. Okay, by the way, Hipposaurus, everyone. This is supposedly Hipposaurus remains that got reassigned, which is fun. It's not anymore, it's Lycanodon, but yeah, it's fun. Yeah. This one has caused me so many issues trying to figure out what the name means in Latin, because it's, like, not simple. Also the fact that the skull diagrams, I'd like to see the material for this one as well. This one, I'd like to know what the material looks like. Too bad they aren't any photos to my knowledge. Permanentia, my beloved. Give me a second. But yeah, no, these are the specimens that I've been looking into and like trying to figure out. Okay. Give me like a minute to just check things. Okay. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, these guys are weird. Bolas is my favorite. I just really love to like. This is such a weird animal. Again, the crest could be like more like not really. That's too high. That is way too high for the animal. Nasal one probably could. Based on Mobarosaurus, like the nasal could just be like that and that. Which, yeah, that's kind of how the nasal would be. Mobarosaurus is weird. Again, something you'll notice with these guys is their massive orbits. Lender especially, which is basically this giant orbit with like a tiny head. Very cute little guy. Very weird. Which also would apply to Neocopia, which is very weird. Anyway, let us get back to the Permian of Russia. More specifically, where were we? We were not doing Sunday fauna. We were doing we were gonna grab everything from Coltonek, which I believe I have to turn off Inkscape. Go to Chrome. That's lovely. Close that. There are changes. Don't save changes. And we pull up the good old-fashioned Russia paper, which is fun. And I am starting to get a headache. This is brilliant. Okay, so we have Sequence of Permian. 2017, Sequence of Permian in Russia. Which is a more updated list. Again, I have to normally go through these and check what's valid in Western literature, because normally there is a difference, and that's not fun. The first one we have is from Coltonek Fauna, is the taxa. We are going to put those next to each other. We'll sort these later into groups because I'm not trusting the paper groups. Is Emerlatus Libertus, which is basically a Parasaur. These guys, not Parasaurs, kind of proto-Parasaurs. The best term I can give it is they're not quite Parasaurs, but they're very early stem members of that same clade, or not clade. They're early Parasaur relatives, which is, yeah. Dejavutia, which is a actual Parasaur. Damn it, it's not copying over sizes properly. That's fine, that's fixable later. Which is... yeah, we get to the spreadsheet part of it. The spreadsheet part is very annoying. But you know, these guys are weird. I believe it's not that big either. It's one of the smaller. Again, small for Parasaur is like 50 centimeters. So like, eh. Oh, we have a special guest coming in. From this formation. I actually forgot it was from here. Viatkogorgon, my favorite semi-aquatic Gorgonopsian on the basis of Mosasaur-like tail. I loved reading the fact that I would like to mention that no, I don't. For those who do not know what I'm talking about, I'm hoping there's like a good god AI art. No, disgusting. I hope there's actually like a good recon of the animal for like the modern interpretation. Nope, that's it's not great. It's like open access. Plotter. Plotter's one of the weirder ones though, so we shouldn't use that as an example for the people. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah. Again, Uh, this is the anatomy that they're shoving on a Gorgonopsian. Again, I'm 90% sure that they don't exactly mean Moses-like tail in the modern sense of it had like this. I think they mean it in the sense of long tail, therefore like, moving back and forth side to side. The tail ain't that long. It's like yay, which like I guess it's a longer tail, but like Moses was a jump again. No, I don't think that's how it would work. I don't. It's named after Ivanko, which I thought Ivanko did name it, which interesting. Skelependorites, which is, I believe, one of the more complete Ferrocephalians. I don't exactly know where it clades, but yeah, it's Ferrocephalian. A lot of these are just Coltonic and thing. It's the semi-aquatic one that is semi-aquatic on the basis of whiskers. Yippee. I this is I believe this formation is coastal? Maybe? Maybe? I don't know. The literature is just kind of bad on like that. Or more specifically, I can't read the literature properly. Because, again, it's in Russian. Slight issue. I'm very good. I can read English. I can kind of read Afrikaans to a degree. Which, yeah. I can understand Afrikaans when spoken, which is very fun. I can't speak it back. just like, yeah, I can understand what you're saying, but like, I'm not gonna be able to repeat it back to you. I have a rudimentary understanding of French as well, which is fun. But yeah, but Plexisaurus is often portrayed as semi-aquatic, and I believe the reasoning for that is whiskers, which I don't think it had yet. I'm not sure when whiskers evolved, but I believe it is at least the Triassic when we see proper whiskers evolving. Hair as a whole, in my opinion, is probably late Permian Triassic. I'm more on the side of Triassic based on the evidence that has been provided by Benant, which is basically a lot of stuff on that. It's very interesting. I'm hoping chat's working because I haven't seen y'all talk in a while. I'm hoping the stream is working. Please, please, I need to know. Oh no, there's two of these. That one of these is not valid anymore. This is where Sumini is from, by the way. Which I believe actually makes Suminia the last member of its group before they go extinct. Just kind of sad that it's basically the final point in like basal anomalons, because they go extinct in Africa at this point. At least we think so. The evidence shows. Again, record kind of bad. Yeah. Give me a second. I'm gonna just check something. It is in fact working. Yeah, it is in fact working. Lovely. Okay. I was just like, oh no, it's just gone. Um, I remember one of these is decent and one of these isn't. I don't remember. I'm assuming one of them. If they're both good, that's fun. Yeah. Oh yeah, speaking of Titanic, speaking of thingy, I've answered from earlier. Yeah, almost specifically Biomasuka's adult. A friend of mine visited a pop-up thing for Permian stuff, and managed to see like a cast of that specimen, and got me like the front view of that. Oh my god, it's so squished in person. That is so squished. Oh, that's it. Okay, that is the entirety of Koltanik. That's that is funny. That's kind of sad, but kind of funny at the same time. That is everything from there. Which is basically like Anomodonts, So these would be your Nomadons, these would be your Ferrocephalians, which, yeah, like, that's how it looks pretty much. Is no, because Gorgonopsians would be after, because it's like how we do this is like the same as we did in Africa. That is that is fascinating from like a perspective of what lived there, because like that's small for absents and then probably some herbivores. I don't know what mooch is. Oh god. But yeah, no. That's weird. That's very weird. We can do another one. They're fast to do. So Isoka, we have Divinosaurus, Primus, and our first Chroniosuchids, which I think we had some earlier, but like we're not counting them. We'll count them because they are actually Chroniosuchids. And yeah, no. Chroniosuchids are weird. Also mentioned like Divinosaurs are weird because they're one of the later Permian. Do we get any later Divinosaurs? Like, or if they just replace? Nope. Vietnitsky has Divinosaurs. That is interesting. That is basically Rhinosuchid equivalent in Africa, or more specifically in Russia. Like equivalent to Rhinosuchids in Africa that are in Russia. That same time frame is actually really interesting. That is 3 different species of microfauna, which I'm not sure how many of these are valid. Again, when I do these, I normally have to check afterwards, like what is valid, what is not anymore. Because, again, Russian literature is weird. Taxonomically, they use some weird methods, and a lot of stuff, at least in is weird literature wise. I am so tired. I think we'll call it at like 20. Yeah, I think that's a decent time to call it, or probably earlier if we finish 15. Yeah. Ultima. These guys are weird. These little guys are very large. I don't remember what group they are because they're definitely not. Are they? Hmm. We're gonna quickly do a Google. We're gonna. I was gonna look up like yeah, Ultima. Okay. Yeah, no. What are you? Oh, it is a Samariamorph. That's fun. That's cool. Okay. No, it is actually Samariamorph. In the late Permian, that's weird. Kind of weird to see that group so late. Especially in a formation that's notable for quite late. Oh. Wait, oh, that's interesting. We have arrived, people, in the quite literal formation of yeah, we're it's Proolginia. That is such a funny name. So fauna-wise, this is very interesting. Again, like discounting that, like the animals here be that is there's like not much here. I think that's spelled differently, but yeah. Again, Oni Parasaurus Proolginia, which is interesting. No, it isn't because we got the new paper, so Scudo is here as well. Remind me to add that later. Protosaurus, which I don't know if this is a Protosaur anymore. I actually am genuinely unsure. I've seen a recon of this and it did not look like one, I remember, but like it could still be Basil, which means like Archosaur. Probernetia. Proberneties are Bernetids. There's actually 2 from the same locality, which is very fun. One's like very complete, and the other one is you know, the other one. I'm sorry, that's like the best I got. That's like, yeah, but there's a thing saying like, yeah. And then we got Sorctonus, which is not the one I believe you get when you. Okay, actually, genuine question. If I had to Google, what comes up when I look up this guy? Is it the new one or? Oh, it is the Burian one. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, no, it is just. I looked it up. Like, it is just the Russian one. That's fun. I think. Yeah, no, it's Russian one. Basically, there's one from Africa, but might not be assignable, which is fun. Um, this is a lot more of a traditional, more specifically, very weird, like less fauna compared to Africa, which is kind of sad. But yeah, kind of interesting. Yeah, Super Gorgon. I discovered today that I believe micro nano Gorgon is taken, and I wish it wasn't. I really wish Nano Gorgon was not taken up by Indet material, because that's such a funny name. Usilia, which is also by Masukin. Oh, it's from the same. Okay, so like, I am starting to see a very interesting thing about this formation, which is basically. Well, I'll get into it more at the end. Where it's like very, very weird. That's fascinating. Again, I'm gonna have to look over these later, but again, basically look at this as like your Burnettids are here. So these would be your Burnettids. We're not done yet, but like, yeah. These are your Burnettids. That's so many. That's like a lot more than you would expect from this kind of time frame. Especially for oh wait, Biomasukis isn't one of them. Sorry, it's like three. No, never mind. It's like reasonable. I was like, that's a lot. No, 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 it's not. So Suminia, which is gonna include that because I believe it is not proper Suminia. And then we have you, which is fun. Because such a little weirdo. Ah, okay. I think this is actually a perfect cutting off point because I said I'd end it like that point. Okay. But there, yeah, this is the funnel we got done today. I know it's not much. We did get distracted as usual, but yeah. No, I am gonna take a rest for my voice and hope you all enjoyed. I'm sorry for not doing a longer stream tonight, but yeah, I'm out of it. So yeah, I hope you all had a good day. I'll see you all later, and goodbye.